Before Eden had a name, before humans had words, the earth spoke only in signs. Not in scriptures or scrolls, but in wind, wings, stone, and fire. Africa, 300,000 years ago. The highlands trembled under ancient silence. But silence here was never still. It danced in the grasses. It echoed off the red cliffs. It swirled through the nostrils of beasts too old to name. The wind was strange. The storks flew early, thousands of them streaking the skies like arrows fleeing war. Queen Eve stood at the edge of a cliff in what is now Morocco. Tall, dark, proud. Her obsidian cape fluttered in the strange breeze. "The wind is wrong," she whispered. Behind her stood Abel, her son, and the tribal elders. He was young, lean, and wise beyond his years. The birds no longer circle. They flee, and they don't look back. Eve turned her gaze toward the Strait of Gibraltar. Something was coming. Far to the north, beneath the frozen breath of Spain, deep in the caves of Cueva de Bolívar, King Adam opened his eyes. The Neanderthal king was barely 4 feet tall, short, wide, brutal. His skin was pale and cratered. His teeth were filed to sharp points. Around his neck he wore a necklace of human ears, hardened in smoke. His breath stank of marrow and rot. His voice cracked like breaking ice. "It's time," he growled. Beside him stood his second-in-command, General Dren. For too long they had mined gold and eaten their weak. The southern lands promised warmth, gold, and flesh. And the storks, cursed birds, had turned south. That was the sign. That night the Neanderthals dragged out crude boats from their caves, dug out logs bound with sinew, mammoth ribs for support, hides for sails. Torches lit the sea as Earth's first armada set sail. Eve stood watching from the cliffs, her heart heavy as stone. "Tonight," she whispered, "the old stories breathe again." General Mbali stood beside her, tall, powerful, silent. She had heard the stories too, but tonight they were no longer stories. The boats landed like a wave of fire. Neanderthals stormed the shores. Their war cries pierced the night. Eve's people, tall, dark-skinned warriors, stood their ground. Spears clashed, shields splintered. Mbali led the charge. She fought like wind and thunder, cutting through Neanderthals like tall grass. For 2 nights they held the beach. But on the third night, the tide changed. A single boat landed untouched. From it stepped King Adam. He was small, scarred, and grinning, his gray eyes locked with Queen Eve's. She raised her spear. Adam chuckled. He stepped forward. His breath was hot and foul. "Bow," he said. She didn't. He reached out and pressed his thumb to her chest. "You will." The wind fell still. Even the storks in the sky circled in silence. Mbali charged forward to defend her queen. Adam met her strike with monstrous power. He shattered her skull with a single blow. Eve screamed. Mbali was gone. She dropped her spear. In the chaos, Abel escaped. He led a group south, beyond mountains, past desert and savanna, into the green depths of sub-Saharan Africa. His line would remain untouched by Neanderthal DNA. That line survives today in the Nilotic tribes. Abel lived, and so did memory. But Queen Eve was taken, chained in bone, dragged into Adam's fortress. There was no mercy, only firelight, only conquest. "You will birth the next world," he said. And so from force a child was born. Cain, not Homo erectus, not Neanderthal. Something new. The first human. For 250,000 years, the Neanderthals ruled northern Africa. Homo erectus were made slaves. Women were forced to breed. Children were sorted. The weak were discarded. Gold was mined. And bloodlines were shaped by survival. But nature does what war cannot. It changes. Cain's children grew stronger. They began to outthink their masters, outlast them, outlive them. Slowly, Neanderthal traits faded. New traits rose: speech, memory, cooperation. This was not creation by divine hands. This was evolution by pressure and fire. They told you the garden was lost because of a fruit, but Eden was never a garden. It was a continent, and it burned. They told you Cain killed Abel out of jealousy, But the truth is deeper, darker, older. This is Genesis. And next comes the real story of Cain and Abel.